Athletic Conference here at Providence University College in beautiful Niverville, Manitoba. For those not familiar with where Niverville is, it is just 30 minutes south of Winnipeg and just miles away from the longitudinal center of Canada. It is the fastest growing community in Manitoba, which is not surprising when you see this wonderful facility that we have, that we're in all week, which is the gorgeous Community Resource and Recreation Center, also known as the CRRC, here in Niverville, which was built several years ago. It is the home of the Providence Pilots, and more than that, it is a hub for this wonderful community. And we are very honored to be hosted by Niverville. Thank you for the city of Niverville. They're a title sponsor of this tournament, and they're going to be doing this all again next year for the Women's National Championship. So thank you for sharing your great facility with us and your hospitality here in Niverville. I'm your courtside announcer, Harlan Enns, and I'm thrilled to bring you all the action live from this historic event here in Manitoba. This whole week, we're going to be enjoying watching the very, very best college men's volleyball teams in Canada, literally from coast to coast, represented by some of the most outstanding players in collegiate volleyball. Out of the 14 All-Canadian honorees that were honored last night at the Players' Banquet, 8 are actually here this week with their teams competing to bring home the national championship for their school and province. None of the teams who medaled last year at last year's championships in Camosun, or at Camosun in BC, have returned to this championship. So we are guaranteed to have a new champion this year come Saturday night. So as we gear up for this men's volleyball national championship, and this is the 4th match of the day, so it is the last one. It is the nightcap. It may prove to be the very best one of the day. We have 2 very, very strong teams. The Humber Hawks against the College of the Rockies Avalanche from BC. Humber is from Toronto area, Tobacoke, I think, to be exact. And so that proves to be a good match. But let me break down a little bit for the evening first. And before I do even that, I want to thank some of our national sponsors. Sports Canada is the major funding partner of the CCAA. So we thank them for their support. One Team Sports Group is the official retailer of the CCAA. Moulton is the official volleyball of the CCAA. Jostens is the official supplier of the award rings to the CCAA. And 4 Imprint is the presenting sponsor of the Players of the Match. And at the end of this match, we're going to get to have a conversation with the winning team players of that, or player of that match. And so look forward to that at the end of this evening. Huddle is also a sponsor, national sponsor of this. They provide video capture analysis that helps teams, coaches, and players realize their potential. Verabruin Medical Supply is the official medical supplier provider of the CCAA, so we thank them as well. One of the big sponsors here this evening, you're going to hear it several times. Every substitution that's made will be brought to you by the Steinbeck Credit Union, which is guidance for where you want to go. So again, thank you for the town of Niverville. They are the title sponsor for the local sponsors, and have given a lot. And this facility, as I said, is second to none here in the college world of sports. I want to talk about the keys to the match coming up, because we do have a dandy coming up between these 2 very, very good teams. College of the Rockies actually was the #1 ranked team for the first 10 weeks of the season here in this 24-25 season. It's only in the last that they had a little bit of a stumble, and still played very, very well at the provincial championship in BC and lost a tight final to the Douglas Royals. Now, the Douglas Royals played earlier today and won their match against the Atlantic representative, which was St. Anne Dragons. Earlier in the day, we also saw the Providence Pilots, the host team, lose a hard-fought but a 3-set battle against the #1 ranked Red Deer Kings, who were #1 ranked in the country for the last 3 weeks of the season. They come over to Alberta very, very strong with a lot of momentum. They played well to beat the host team, Providence Pilots. A lot of energy in the gym with that one. And then the first match of the day was a big surprise upset by the second Manitoba team, CMU, Canadian Mennonite University Blazers from Winnipeg. They used the benefit of their home crowd, local crowd at least. They had a lot of fans in the crowd and certainly played up to their probably best game or match of the season, and beat a very strong team out of Quebec, the Outaouais Griffins, who boasted actually the National Player of the Year, Felix Perron. But unfortunately for them, they lost the match in 4 and will be playing for, at best, bronze tomorrow and subsequent days. So the teams that move on to the semifinals so far that have marked their ticket are the Douglas Royals, who will play the CMU Blazers, and then the winner of the last match, which was the Red Deer Kings are going to be playing the winner of this match that is right in front of us. So let me break down this match that is coming up between the Humber Hawks and the Cotter. I'm going to be calling them Cotter because College of the Rockies is a mouthful. But they are the the runners-up in the wild card from BC. The reason why BC has two teams here is because over the last several years at national championships, BC has been represented very well. They've won 2 national championship. Conference has. Camosun won it 3 years ago and 2 years ago, 2 consecutive years. And last year, VIU out of Nanaimo, they were 3rd. And so on that basis, they got 2 wild cards. And then, of course, Manitoba has 2 berths because virtue of the fact that Providence is hosting, they had an automatic berth. And because they won the conference, then the second place team, the CMU Blazers, also got in. So looking at the Cotter Avalanche, they had a very impressive season. They had a regular season record of 15-5. They started the season with 10 consecutive weeks, as I said, ranked as the #1 team in the country. They did stumble near the end where they lost 5 of their last 6, but they did right the ship going into the Pac West tournament, which is the provincial final in BC, and they ended up losing in the final to Douglas Royals, which was a good team, but a little bit of an upset. 3-1 in that one. Both the Avalanche and the Hawks could argue that this is the toughest first-round matchup of the night, or of the first day. They both come in ranked among the top 4 teams in the country based on final regular season rankings. And it's really a shame that one of them will be out of the running for gold after tonight. So 2 hours from now, one of them is going to be competing at best for bronze, while the other goes on to the semifinal. The Avalanche's success this season was driven by the one-man wrecking ball named Diego Policarpo. He is number 15, and Diego is the team captain. He's an all-Canadian. He was the player of the year last year. He's a 3rd-year player, and perhaps he is still the most feared left side hitter in the country. Despite his smaller 6'3" size, Diego flirted all season with the Pac West all-time record for kills by set, or per set, before finishing with a still astonishing, but slightly less than the record of 5.79 kills per set, which is incredible. He hits at a high percentage. He hit above 300, which is incredible given his usage, and incredibly efficient. But perhaps the most intriguing storyline for the Avalanche is the return of 4 Southern Manitoba players. Libero number 17, Reese Clark, is from Ile-des-Chênes. The setter number 8, backup setter, is Jet Bowen. And the hitter number 4, Alberto Francisco, is from Winnipeg. And Steinbach's local hero, 2nd-year setter number 16, Boston Thiessen. You will recall, if you're a local volleyball fan from the Steinbach area, that Boston led his team at the Steinbach Regional to the Quad A Manitoba Provincial Championship only 2 seasons ago. The keys for the match, if Cotter Avalanche are to win, they need to win that pass serve game. They need to be serving difficult serves to the other team aggressively, but they need to be passing well. They need to stay in system. They need secondary scoring. Policarpo is going to get his 7 points each night. He gets his 5.79 kills. He'll get an ace. He'll get maybe a stop block. So he gets his points, but where are they going to find those other 18 points? That's something that they need to do well today, is get that secondary scoring. Strong defense is another hallmark of their team. Their defensive skills have been a key factor in their success so far. So they need to be able to dig up the balls that are going to be coming at them fast-paced and hard from this hard-hitting Humber team. Humber, on the other side, also had a strong season in the OCAA, the Ontario Colleges Athletic Association. They are usually very strong in Ontario and are always a factor in that tournament, often get a berth to the national championship. So this is no new experience for them, although so they have some young guys on the team, but overall their team is very experienced. They did beat Cambrian in the Ontario final, as Cambrian was the host, and so they had the satisfying accomplishment of beating the Cambrian team in their home gym to earn their berth into Niverville, into this national championship. They returned to this year's championship with strong leadership crew. They played very well at last year's championships in Victoria, which is my hometown, so I was actually at the tournament last year in Victoria and did see how well Humber played. They have some very big hitters, exciting hitters. They play big. They play with a chip on the shoulder. They're now 1 year older. They're expecting even better results this year. They are always in contention at the championships. They've had 4 medals over the history of the CCAA championship. 1 gold medal, and that last one was in 2012. They have guys who can bomb the serves, absolutely, including all-Canadian left side number 16, Tevin Blackmore. They also have another left side named number 8, Kyle Gray Phillips, who is fantastic and very, very athletic. They are led by their long-term coaching duo of Wayne Wilkins and Hank Ma. who have coached together, can you believe it, at Humber for over 25 years. Now, the key for the Humber Hawks to win is they need to use that experience. They've been here before. They have the players who know what it means to play in the pressure cooker. They need to play with that chip on their shoulder. When I was talking to Coach Wayne Wilkins yesterday, he spoke of this chip, this confidence that they need to play with, this little bit of swagger, and they need to stay in their system tonight. So sit back and relax, get ready for some top-tier volleyball action. We are just finishing up day one. It's going to be a shame that one of these teams will not be playing for a gold medal after today, but let's enjoy what we're going to see in front of us. It could be the best match of the night. The interviews are the player introductions are just being done. I'm going to log off for pause for a moment and come back in a few seconds to introduce the starting lineups as well as the referees.
Here are today's starting lineups for your College of the Rocky Avalanche. Number 2.
I'm going to now announce the starters for the Colorado Avalanche. Number 2 is Reed Brusing. He's a fourth-year right side hitter out of Bragg Creek, Alberta. Number 4, Albert Francisco. I mentioned him earlier. He's a third-year hitter out of Winnipeg. You can hear perhaps the cheers in the background for Albert. Number 13 is Ethan Brom. He's a third-year middle blocker out of Kelowna, British Columbia. Number 14 is Noah Hadwin. He is a first-year middle blocker, 6'8", out of Regina, Saskatchewan. Number 15 is Player of the Year from last year and Player of the Year for BC. This year, Diego Policarpo, fourth-year outside hitter. He is from Brazil. Number 16 is Boston Thiessen. He is the second-year setter. He's getting a big cheer right now. He is from Mitchell, Manitoba, just outside of Steinbach. And finally, their libero is number 17, Reese Clark, from Ildashane, Manitoba. Let me also share with you, before I go to the Humber Hawks, the referees for tonight. Ron Limpright is going to be one of the lines person. Chris Chong is joining him, Win LaFleur, and Ben Baydock. Glenn Hoffman is going to be R1, and Everett Dion is going to be on the floor as his umpire, or R2 as we call it today. Now let me introduce the Humber Hawks. Their libero is number 1, Mikhailo Saidov, and number 2 is Nazir Francis, a fifth-year middle blocker out of Toronto, and I should say that Saidov is a first-year libero from Kharkiv. I think that's in the Ukraine. Number 4 is Michael McAlpine. He's a third-year middle blocker. He's also 6'8" out of Ottawa, so a big middle blocker. Number 5 is All-Canadian Josh Nicholson, one of their 2 All-Canadians. He's a fifth-year setter, a lot of experience out of Markham, Ontario. Number 8 is Kyle Gray Phillips. He's a fourth-year outside hitter from Brampton, Ontario. Number 11, Alec Loney, is their third-year middle blocker out of Mississauga. Number 15 is their second libero, Alex Segi. He is number 15, as I said, fourth-year libero out of Scarborough. And finally, their second All-Canadian is number 16, Taven Blackmore. He is a fourth-year outside hitter from Ottawa. Again, you can see by just the number of years of experience, these guys have been here before. They have been through the pressure cooker. They hope that that will make a difference when it comes to these close and intense parts of the match. We are about ready to begin the match. The referees have called the players together. They are joining each other on the middle of the court. And the linesmen are getting into place. And we are about to begin. I will come back with you in just a few moments. I'd like to say that today's match, but also the men's and women's basketball and volleyball championships, are being powered by AO2 Live. It is the platform that powers amateur Canadian sports, CCAA's official video streaming service provider. So those listening at home, we should all appreciate AO2 live streaming, and hopefully what you see today, you're going to enjoy as much as I am enjoying here in the gymnasium. I will try to bring this game to life for you, but that will be, I think, on the players as well. You'll be very impressed with the power, precision, ball control, and just absolutely intestinal fortitude that these guys have to bring their best on every single rally. And with that, it will be, I think Cotter is serving first. I misspoke. It is the setter from Humber, number 5, Josh Nicholson, who's going to be serving first. It's been whistled in. First serve has been hit. Float serve to the middle of the court. And we have a center line violation on the setter, Boston Thiessen. Point goes to Josh Nicholson and his Humber Hawks. And with that, we have begun the last match of the day. Again, we're looking for this to be a fantastic matchup. Go to the right side, hit by Reed Grusing on that one, but he cuts it a bit too sharp. It goes out of bounds for a point for Humber Hawks. A rather interesting jump serve with a side spin, and obviously didn't get on top of that one like he was anticipating or wanting to. And with that one, the point goes to the Avalanche. First server for the Avalanche is going to be Noah Hadwin, one of the middle blockers from Regina, Saskatchewan. Nice pass. And over to the All-Canadian Taven Blackmore, number 16. Nice easy shot, finds the floor. This guy is a high flyer. I remember him from last year watching him in Victoria. He has good hops, but not only that, he sees the block extremely well. Hits with a very high efficiency. He goes back to serve now, Taven Blackmore. Puts some pressure on the serve, comes back on the overpass. Net play here going back and forth. Boston Thiessen puts it out to Diego, who has to tip it over. Played up by Gray Phillips. Gray Phillips hits it hard, high off the block, dug up by the libero. And Policarpo hits it down the line, takes a little bit off, and gets the points for the Avalanche. Back to serve is Reed Grusing for the Avalanche. He hits that one topspin into the net, giving the serve and the point to the Hawks from Humber. Alec Loney, middle blocker, is back to serve for the Hawks. He hits that one into the net, gives it right back. It's helpful. Humber is the first team today that has names on the back of their jerseys. That will help me, certainly in the early going, as I familiarize myself with all the numbers and different looks of each guy. Back to serve is Policarpo. Quick attack out of the middle by Nazir Francis. Off the libero, but couldn't contain it and goes astray. Point to the Humber Hawks. Now leading 5-3 in the very early going. Back to serve is Michael McAlpine. Boston Thiessen goes to the middle. Ethan Braum, but hits into the block. I have said it several times before in the earlier games, as a timeout is called here by Cotter in the early going. Clearly coach from their team, Cisco Ferreira, is not liking what he's seeing, wants to correct it sooner rather than later. But what I was saying earlier is I have a very bad view of the net. I don't have any view of the center line or really the net, because I am sitting directly behind the referee stand. And so sometimes I just have to assume what has happened. You will often have a better view than I do from your vantage points watching on the cameras, but I will do my best to describe what is happening for you at the net. As I think I said earlier, I had the opportunity yesterday to sit in the gym for the 8 hours of respective team practices. Each team practiced here in the gym for 55 minutes. Did a lot of serving and serve receiving and hitting, just becoming familiar with how the air flows here and the lighting and just the spacing around the court. All the teams were very, very complimentary of the facility. We have seen on a couple of occasions, or more than a couple of occasions, where the ball has gone up into the rafters. It's perhaps a little bit lower than some of the gymnasiums around the country, but certainly a world-class facility that has impressed all of these guys. Back to serve again, coming out of the timeout, is Michael McAlpine. Hits it high and hits the top spin serve. Braum hits it out of the middle for a kill. Blackmore did everything he could to get to that one. In fact, he did get his hand on it, but he did not get it successfully over the net. Point to the Cotter Avalanche. Back to serve for his first time is Ethan Brom, who, as I said, is from Kelowna, British Columbia. 6'5" middle blocker. Coming out of the back row is McAlpine. And it looks to be a net call on one of the blockers on the Avalanche side. Point goes back to the Hawks. And Hawks are a team that do use two liberos. They use Saidov as well as Segi. Back to serve is Gray Phillips. He hit a few bombs in practice yesterday that leads me to believe he's a guy that gets a lot of aces. So we'll see how he serves when the action is actually game time. Puts a lot of spin on that, but not particularly hard. Coming through in the middle was number 14, Noah Hadwin. And Blackmore hits it off the antenna. Quite an outside set, so the point goes over the Avalanche, and Boston Thiessen goes back to serve for the first time. The second-year setter, as I said, out of Steinbach Regional Secondary School program. The Sabres. Although I'm from BC now, I am an alumnus of Steinbach Regional Secondary School. So I'll have a lot of proud moments and proud of everything that school is able to accomplish. Polycarpo gets blocked, it gets recycled. Reed Grusing again recycles that one. Then we have Albert Francisco. It gets shoved back, tipped it rather passively and pushed back on his side. Point goes to Gray Phillips and the Hawks, who will serve yet again. Tough serve right in front of the libero, the number 4, Albert Francisco. Took a little bit off that serve, and perhaps they were a little bit on their heels, they being the serve reception. So Gray Phillips goes back for a third time. It's these little runs that add up over the course of the game. Serve there managed nicely by this libero. And Polycarpo gets a little under that ball coming out of the back row and hits it long. Sorry, I have been talking about the wrong server. This is not Gray Phillips. This is Nazir Francis. Nazir Francis serving for a fourth time. He serves that one long. I shouldn't be making that mistake, certainly with jersey names on their back. Nazir Francis comes out as a middle blocker for the libero, as middle blockers always do in the back row. And going back to serve now, we have Albert Francisco. Shot by Blackmore, just inside the right side of the court on a sharp cross-court hit. Point to the Hawks, and back to serve is their all-Canadian setter, Nicholson. Reed Grusing hits it, position 6. Gray Phillips not able to get back to dig that one up, and point goes to Cotter Avalanche. Back to serve now is Noah Hadwin. It's that serve reception in trouble. Nice dig. We'll see here. Polycarpo hits it hard, but blocked. Rejected. He keeps swinging. Sometimes that'll happen, but he keeps swinging. Nice block by the left side of, I think that was Taven Blackmore sorry, not Taven Blackmore, on the right side. So Taven is back to serve now, though, for the Hawks. Score is 12-7. Great serve, dug up by Polycarpo. Polycarpo kind of floats that one over the net. Unfortunately, Segi couldn't get his hands away from it. I think it was sailing out. He took it, lost control of that one, and point goes to the Avalanche. Back to serve is Reed Grusing. Blackmore takes that one, but they're out of system on this one. And yeah, not the cleanest of sets, and certainly the head referee, R1 Glenn Hoffman, saw that one had to be called. That was a double contact on the setter, Josh Nicholson. Goosen back to serve. Tough float serve, picked up by Blackmore, but again, out of system, McAlpine. Nice tool off the block. Kind of a high ball that you expect the blockers to get the best of most times, but smart play by McAlpine. Back to serve is now Loney for the Humber Hawks, leading this first game 13-9. And an ace ball. Policarpo looked at that one, let it go over his head, and made the wrong decision in that case. It hit just inside the end line for an ace. Well done by Loney. And that serve by Loney goes into the middle of the net. Side out. Policarpo goes back to serve for the Avalanche. D-ball out of the back row. Policarpo thinks there was a touch. The referee does not agree with him. So the side out goes to the Hawks. And with that, there's going to be a timeout called by Cisco Ferrero, coach of the Avalanche, using his second timeout already after the 15th Humber point, but clearly not wanting the opposition to get a run going here. Policarpo has had a lot of swings today already, but not as efficient as I think he's normally used to doing. They seem perhaps a little out of sorts, Cotter Avalanche that is. Certainly I have seen them play better over the years, being from British Columbia. I think there's better times ahead for them in this match today and tonight, and perhaps even in this set. But they have to get it rolling here pretty quickly, 15-10. At this point, as I've said before in earlier matches, you get to that 20, and they're certainly on their way, Humber Hawks. At that point with a lead, you really just need to side out and get those last 5 points that way. But Humber is going to continue to serve aggressively and block aggressively. They put a few good blocks on Policarpo already, and like I was saying earlier, Cisco was telling me yesterday, they do need secondary scoring. So where is that coming from? So far, there have not been a lot of kills by any on the Cotter Avalanche, and so clearly wanting to get some momentum going on the Avalanche side. And with that, McAlpine is back to serve for the Hawks. Referee calling a reserve. There is a big crowd that has stuck around for this last match. It's not quite as loud as it was in the previous match with Providence, because the student section is largely dispersed. A beautiful pass. And with that, beautiful kill by Braum out of the middle. It all starts with that beautiful set from the Reese Clark, libero from the Avalanche. So back to serve is Braum. And Braum floats it out the back and gives it right back to Humber for their 16th point. Gray Phillips is back to serve. This time it really is Gray Phillips. It is not Nazir Francis. Apologies last time to Nazir. He was piling up points and I was giving credit to Gray Phillips. Sharp spin on that one. We're out of system here. A high ball to Francisco, picked up by Nicholson, so he's couldn't take the second one. Big block on Taven Blackmore by Boston Thiessen and Hadwin, the middle blocker combination. Now Boston Thiessen is back to serve. Big jump serve out of system here. Blackmore swings. Nice pickup by Policarpo. Francisco pounds it down the line. Number 4, McAlpine was there, but it went straight off his arms up into the rafters. As I was saying, they're perhaps a little bit lower than some gymnasiums. It has come into play for a number of points today, so you do really need to control those digs. They did get it back over, but tough serve by Boston Thiessen. But Nazir Francis says, no way, not on my watch. Stuff block back into the Pilot side, and now we have a substitution. Nazir Francis coming out. Number 6 is Paul Manna coming in to serve, and that substitution was brought to you by the Steinbach Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. So Paul Manna gets his first touch of the national championship this season. Paul Manna is a second-year left side hitter out of Toronto. Nice pass up to Boston Pizza. Boston Pizza. I got pizza on my mind. Speaking of pizza, I should say that there are several sponsors that have donated to the tournament and are helping with volunteer meals. We have a number of pizza places here in Niverville. Let's talk about Pepsi's Pizza, which is also Country Snacks. We have Pizza Hut in Niverville, who are providing volunteer meals. We also have Domino's in Niverville. We have Santa Lucia in Niverville. We need those in BC. We need Santa Lucia's and Pizza in Niverville. So if you feel like pizza, that's where you should be going tonight. All right, serve. Serve by the Avalanche and a miss hit by Taven Blackmore on the left side. Point goes to the Avalanche. Boy, I got Boston Pizza on my mind. I'm going to have to remember it's Boston Thiessen, not Boston Pizza. Back to serve is Francisco. It does go long. Point and serve to the Hawks. And with that, Josh Nicholson, their all-Canadian setter, 5th-year setter, lots of experience in those hands. Float serve over, given back by Reese Clark. Policarpo is blocked. Again, nicely for him. 2-man block on the outside. Policarpo puts it into the block, and they are able to keep it inbounds for a point. All-important point. 19-15 now for Humber. Policarpo takes the serve. Beautiful pass. And makes no mistake about that one. Boy, is he riled up for that one. Revving up his team and himself. Now we have another Steinbach Credit Union substitution. Number 5 coming in, Brett Kester to serve. He's the backup setter coming in for Hadwin. Amazing kill by Policarpo. Maybe that's what he needs. Big block by number 2, Reed Grusing. Getting a little momentum here for Cotter. Building on that kill by Policarpo just moments ago. And with that, Coach Wayne Wilkins calls a timeout for the Humber Hawks. Does not want to give away this lead easily, so he calls a timeout to regroup his team. We're now 19-17 in a closely contested first set. We haven't seen, I think, the best from either team yet. I think they're still working out the nerves, playing for the first time in another province, in another gym. And so with that, I'd like to thank a number of sponsors also that are local to this tournament and local to the Niverville and Steinbach area. We have Rotessa, who is one of our associate sponsors. They are the gold standard in payment processing. Shea Coop, owner-operator Chris Coop, design and print of event collateral. They have done a lot of the printing and creation and design work for this national championship, so thank you to Shea Coop. On Point is also a large format printing of event collateral. Keystone Appraisal was the sponsor of the banquet last night. I said earlier that it was a wonderful banquet. I think the teams really enjoyed the recognition, they enjoyed the time together, and they enjoyed the food. Smitty's in Niverville is also a team meal sponsor. Smitty's is wonderful here in Niverville, as it is in many places in Manitoba and around the country, but certainly Smitty's is very big here in Manitoba. I love their wings. If you go to Smitty's, and I say that you must over the next number of days, get their wings. Wonderful Buffalo Ranch was my favorite the other day when I did my own reconnaissance mission. And we're back to serving. This is Brett Kester. Blackmore hits it out of the right side. And with that, Policarpo tries to win a joust. We're out of system here, but we'll see what Policarpo, hits it down the line. Dug up by the team setter. And with that, Braum, a lot of messy play here at the net, but let's see who can be resilient. And it is a block, a hit off the Humber block by Grusing for a point for the Cotter. Now we're to within 1 point after trailing by as many as 5. They're down to 1 at a very crucial time in the match. And Kester goes back to serve. But he does float it long. Blackmore doesn't have to think hard about that one, lets it go out. And Blackmore back to serve now. Humber Hawks leading 20-18, given that they have that 2-point lead. At this point, they just need to side out, but blocks would be helpful as well. Big McAlpine is in the middle. Big serve by Blackmore. And just out by Diego Policarpo. Blackmore now serving 21-19. I believe it's 21-19. Yeah, it is 21. They haven't changed it yet. They haven't changed it, but it will be 21-19. Or sorry, 21-18, I believe it should be. They've given the point. Oh, yeah, 21-18. They gave the point incorrectly to the Cotter side. Good thing refs certainly at this level are paying attention to all sorts of things in the gym, score being the most obvious, so they caught that very, very quickly. Bit of an awkward serve, didn't get on top of that one like Blackmore would have wanted. It went out the back, and so we have Grusing serving again at 21, now it's 21-19. Set goes to Gray Phillips, rolls it over. Policarpo gets blocked by number 4, Michael McAlpine. I suspect there's not too many matches this season where Policarpo has been stuff blocked 3 times like he has today. And with that, Grusing hits one out of the back row, cross court for the kill. And now Policarpo goes back to serve. There's going to be a substitution. Number 3 coming in for Cotter, which is Jace Wilson. He's a second-year outside hitter. And out was Albert Francisco. Scores 22-20, Humber leading. Big serve, just up by Blackmore, but not enough to have Josh Nicholson get under it. Tough serve, put that team, Humber that is, tough position. Now 1 point game. Policarpo goes back to serve yet again. Wants to perhaps change it up, hit a bomb here. And he does hit a bomb. Slows it down on the take though. And we got McAlpine coming. Bit of indecision there by the defensive team. 3 guys kind of in a triangle, not sure exactly who. And with that, there's going to be enough substitutions. Steinbeck Credit Union brings all substitutions to you today, guiding you to where you want to go. And Albert Francisco is back in. And we have Michael McAlpine going back to serve, scores 23-21. Just out, Policarpo makes the right decision. It was very, very close. Point Cotter. Braum is going back to serve with a 1-point deficit, looking to tie it up. Great serve by Braum. Nicely done by the dug-up. Blackmore was flying from the back row. Francisco tips it to McAlpine. And again, just tipped over by Gray Phillips. Policarpo standing, no mistake on that one. Dear Francis to the ground. A little bit of a disheveled rally on both sides. But a great dig off of Diego's standing attack. And now we're up to match point. One big block after Gray Phillips serve. It could end the first set in Humber's favor, but clearly Cotter Avalanche have other plans. We'll see which one comes to fruition. And just out, cruising, just getting out of the way of that one. It is 24-23. Boston Thiessen goes back to serve. Good serve by Boston Thiessen, but tight to the net, and the setter, Josh Nicholson, does the less than obvious and gets the dump for the game point. 25-23, Humber Hawks take the first set. And with that, I'm going to take a short break, and I'll be back in a few moments, and we'll look over the stats for the first set.
Sports Group, official retailer of the CCAA. Molten, the official volleyball of the CCAA. Jostens, supplier of the award winner of the CCAA. And Ingrid, presenting sponsor of the players of the match.
Welcome back to the Community Research and Recreation Center here in Riverville. Harlan ends with you courtside all week. It's the fourth match today. It was a good first set, 25-23. The first set going to Humber Hawks. And just looking over the stats here, 19 kills for Cotter to 8 for Humber. However, 9 errors were made by Cotter. That was the key difference. Only 4 hitting errors were made by Humber. So a hitting percentage of 0. The way hitting percentage works, for those who take the kills, minus the errors, and then divide by the total attacks. Both teams have 25 total attacks, but because all of the errors on the Cotter side offset the 9 kills, that gets you a 0 hitting percentage. So in fact, you can have a negative hitting percentage if you're particularly ineffective and a couple of players good. Actually, Diego had 3 kills, but 5 errors and 10 swings or 10 attacks. He hit negative 200, which is not a recipe for success. He does leave his team with 4.5 points. Total points, that is. And on the Humber side, Michael McIntyre had 3 kills to only 1 error. And Nazareth Francis had 2 kills, no errors. And one of them was a very, very big kill just at the end of the map. And so in total, on the service errors, there were 7 service errors on Humber, only 4 for Cotter, which is a good time. So we'll see if Cotter can turn some of those into easier points by serving aggressively but keeping the errors down. Digs, Cotter had 11 to the Humber's 5. And obviously in total though, the stat that matters most on the scoreboard, Humber had 25 points to Colorado Avalanche. Cotter Avalanche is 28 points. Coming out with the lineup I see that we started in the first set. Looking at who is on the court for the Humber Hawks. Again, the same lineup. They have the same everything. Alec Early will start in the front row with Michael McIntyre being in the back row. All right, back to serve is Francisco from the Cotter Avalanche. Now that I've got my mic back in place, I'm sorry you didn't probably hear much of what I was saying leading up about the starters, but you're back, I'm back, and hopefully you can hear me. Nicholson will set that one to Mike McIlpine. And a kill on that one for the Humber Hawks. They take the first point of the second set. And back to serve is Blackmore, the all-Canadian from the Humber Hawks. He served very effectively in the first set. He did have an ace in the first set. And with that, maybe I jinxed him. He serves it into the net. Point to the Avalanche. And it will be Hadwin going back to serve. It'll be interesting to see how Diego comes out in this set. If he can be a little bit more efficient with his hitting. He was stuffed 3 times. And that one, Gray Phillips is blocked, but it is recycled. Gray Phillips come back, hit hard the second time, and powers it through the block for a kill for the Humber Hawks. And back to serve is Alec Loney. Could have been overpass, but it was misplayed of the Humber Hawks. And with that, there was a kill by Nazir Francis on the outside. Point goes to Humber Hawks. Alec Loney serves it out and right. Linesman makes that call with a great deal of confidence. So back to serve is Grusin. Blackmore, not a great pass, but Gray Phillips tips it for the kill. Often when you're out of system, it puts your team at a disadvantage. Well, it always puts your team at a disadvantage. Sometimes you get lucky or good, I guess. Gray Phillips would argue it was good. His well-placed tip gets the point for the Hawks. McAlpine goes back to serve. Beautiful pass by Francisco. And with that, Diego gets the kill. His first kill of the second set. Point to Avalanche. Back to serve goes Policarpo. Off the tape, Blackmore puts a perfect 3 pass. And with that, Phillips pounds it off the block and out. Off the blocker's hands on the Avalanche side, so point Hawks, and with that, Gray Phillips does go back to serve. It's a bomb, but well dug up by Policarpo. And Policarpo hits it long, didn't get on top of that one. But we do see a touch called. I'm not sure who exactly called the touch on that one. It seemed to be the second referee. The Lions people didn't call the touch. But he sees it, he calls it, and he's the referee, so that's the right call. Then, so Braum goes back to serve. Point goes to Cotter on that one. Nice run up the middle, Nicholson to Nazir Francis. Francis pounds it off the block and up. Could not be dug by the back row players. So Francis is back to serve. He had a string of 4 or 5 in that first set. Or I tried to give credit to Gray Phillips, but it really was Francis. Policarpo, nice one out of the back row, out of the pipe position. Finds the court for an easy kill. I noticed that Policarpo, after every kill, always does points heavenward. I'm not sure if he's giving credit to his Lord and Savior, or if he's giving credit to perhaps a family member who has been lost in the past. And there's a block by Hadwin. Hadwin gets the point. Probably a question that I'm going to ask Diego at some points before the tournament is out, and I can give you all an answer. What is the history behind his pointing heavenward? Boston Tietzen back to serve. Phillips, Gray Phillips flies out of the back row, off the block, and down for the point for Humber. Hadwin with the kill. Second kill in just the last few points. Nice cut across his body to position 1. Back to serve goes Francisco. One of the 4 Manitobans on this Avalanche team from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Side of doesn't quite get the best pass there, but McAlpine hits out of system with a heavy block on that side, or a good solid wall of a block, but he pounds it off the block and down. Blackmore goes back to serve. Humber leading 8-7 here in the second set. The final nightcap. We've had a great night of volleyball. Well, day of volleyball, I guess, and now it's become night. Great serve by Blackmore. Puts pressure on. Grusing going up for the... And it goes into the rafters off Segi. Point to the Avalanche. Again, the roof kind of coming into play. I'll be curious what the players think of the roof after today's games. There's been a number of points lost by most teams as digs have gone off of the rafters. Hadwin going back to serve, but he puts it into the middle of the net. Knows that wasn't his best effort and takes responsibility for that serve. My bad. And off he goes. Reese Clark coming back in as the libero. Back to serve is Loney for the Hawks. Boston Thiessen puts it over to Grusing. Great dig by Nicholson. Thiessen has to take the first ball, which means Brom just puts it over. And McAlpine hits one cross court. Big boy. Doesn't need to jump incredibly high because his arm swing is already very high, and he's a tall guy. So he gets the kill. He's hitting very effectively here in the first match of their tournament. And they're out of system. Boston Thiessen, pretty obvious that he was going to Diego on that set. And Diego hit it into the block. Pretty well-formed 3-man block, expecting Diego to have it. And with that, it's now an 11-8 lead for Humber. But that serve by Loney goes into the net. Side out to Avalanche. Back to serve is Grusing. Serve receive off Blackmore goes straight up into the rafters. Another point lost in the rafters. Good serve by Grusing. Gets to within 1, now 11-10 in favor of Humber. Nice pass by Blackmore. Gray Phillips puts a tip on it. Boston Thiessen puts it up out of system, but Diego powers it through that 3-person block and does get the kill. We're all square at 11 in the second set of the nightcap. Grusing gets the overpass, and with that, tries to run middle, not very effectively. Now it goes back to Diego, who does. He tries to wipe. The first time it was shoved back on their side, but that time he hits it line, off speed, off of Nicholson's forearms, and out for a point. Cotter, I think, leading for perhaps the first time in this match. 12-11. And McAlpine has to just put it over. Free ball. And out of the back row, Grusing gets on top of that one with authority. Bench is fired up on that one, as is the crowd. That was enough reason for Wayne to call a timeout. Wayne Wilkins, that is, from the Humber side. Timeout called. 13-11 for the Cotter Avalanche from, I believe, Cranbrook, BC. Actually, I'm going to check on that. They might not be from Cranbrook, but they are from BC. They do a lot of recruiting from Alberta and BC, and obviously Manitoba. As I said, they have 4 Manitobans. There's there's only Manitobans, other than the 4 on the Cotter team, there's only Manitobans on the Canadian Mennonite University from Winnipeg and Providence College from Otterburn, Manitoba. Actually, the campus, I should say, for Providence is not actually in Niverville. They are about a 25-minute drive away in Otterburn, Manitoba, which is a little bit west of here, I believe. And they do have a gymnasium there where they do a lot of their practicing, but it's not a facility that could certainly host a tournament like this. And certainly, even for league matches, it doesn't quite measure up. And so this facility was built not necessarily with the college in mind, but certainly college is a very willing and thankful partner in this facility, because this is Providence Pilots' home gymnasium. So they do get a lot of students that come to these games, as well as the community has really caught on to the Pilots program. So again, all because of this great facility that we're in today. Back to serve is Grusing. And it goes off Zaidov's forearms for an ace for Grusing. Again, stretching that lead to 3 is Cotter. Wayne Wilkins talked about mental toughness. This is when mental toughness really comes into play, when you need to break streaks like this. And sure enough, it's Grusing's into the net, kind of lets the Hawks off the hook, as it were, by giving them a point, not making them earn it. So back to serve is McAlpine. Boston Thiessen, high ball to Diego. Hits it hard, stays just below the rafters off the arms of Blackmore. Sent over free ball. And Diego, another great dig by McAlpine. Blackmore can't, athletic play, but can't quite send it over on the 4th. A little discombobulated on those digs, but certainly not for lack of effort. And with that, Diego gets the kill. And now Diego goes back to serve. 15-12 Cotter in the second set. Avalanche trying to even it up at 1 game apiece. High ball goes out to Gray Phillips. Grusing hits it over on the 3rd out of the back row. And with that one, it was Francis a little bit crowded on that set in the middle. Nicholson trying to do perhaps a little bit too much with that set. And Francis couldn't quite keep it in. So with that, Diego goes back to serve for a second time. The lead now 4. Big gunner of a serve. Nicholson, high ball to Gray Phillips, and he cuts it. That ball is bleeding. Beautiful hit. The Humber fans that are here are no doubt appreciating that one, and you at home, amazing. And with that, Gray Phillips goes back to serve for his Humber Hawks. He hits it hard, but doesn't get on top of that ball, and it sails out wide. So Brahm is going to go back to serve for the Cotter Avalanche. Again, serve receive hasn't been great in the last number of points. But Blackmore goes off the block and out. The referee wanting to make sure the linesman was calling it what he meant to call. And originally he called it a touch, but that's often a very difficult call for the linesman to make. It was in fact out. He changed his call to out because it did go off the defensive blocker's hands. And with that, there was a beautiful serve by Francis, an ace down the line. Ace is Clark. Clark did get his hands on it, but could not control it. Nazir Francis has served very, very well. I think he would be probably the leading point getter on his serve so far this game, based on my recollection. Polycarpo, beautiful. Hadwin, nice attack, but blocked there by Loney. He was ready and had committed to, on a beautiful set like that. Polycarpo was holding onto the ball a little long on some of these end of rallies, and refs are getting frustrated with him. Out of the back row, Grusing. Nice cut to position 2. McAlpine was there, but couldn't control the dig. And with that, it goes back to Boston Thiessen, who's now serving for Cotter, leading 18-16. Again, serving tough and getting the Hawks out of system for many plays. Most of the serve receives are coming up well short of the net, and so limiting Josh Nicholson in what he can do, not having all three options. So Boston Thiessen goes back after Cotter earns that point, trying to get to that vaunted 20 points. And with that, McAlpine hits it out of the back row. Nice dig. The referee took a millisecond, not really a second, a millisecond to call. Gray Phillips was ready to jump all over him, but in the end, the linesman made the call that was the right one. And Josh Nicholson back to serve. Boston Thiessen trying to maybe do a little bit too much on that one with Hadwin in the middle. Misfired on that one, fanned, and the point goes to the Humber Hawks. Now only a 1-point deficit, 19-18. Grusing, big swing on that one, but a dig. Effective by Blackmore, very athletic. Surprised the Avalanche with the hit on the second one. Timeout now called by the Avalanche. It's all tied up at 19. Unexpected play when at this level, when you get a ball coming back over on the second contact, like Blackmore sent it over there, and deep court, it often catches the other team off guard, and that's exactly what happened to the Avalanche there. Obviously, Cisco is not liking what he's seeing. They had a lead that was, I believe, up to 4, certainly 3. And so he wants to settle his troops down and give a good serve receive, and I think they've been pushing the middle, which is good. You want to establish the middle, but I think sometimes those decisions by Boston Thiessen have been perhaps a little ambitious, and he should be going to the hitters that have probably a little bit easier chance, particularly when the sets are off the net like they have. Sorry, the serve receives have been off the net like they have been. So we're coming back out of that timeout. Like I said, all tied up at 19. Both teams have one timeout left. No doubt they will be used before the end of this match if it continues to be as close as it is. Nicholson back to serve again. And he hits it into the net, trying to hit a short serve. Point, and that 20th point now goes to the Avalanche. At this point, you want a 2-point lead and then just continue to side out. That's the recipe for success. I see Cisco is giving the team indications of where he wants them to serve. I think Taven Blackmore has been struggling with his serve receive, and they go at him again, but that time they gave him a perfect 3, and that one was just out on the block, so Taven gets the kill, as well as a very, very nice pass. It's good to see Blackmore coming up with a serve receive. He knows they're picking on him. When you tend to struggle as his passer, that's when the servers start targeting you, and he was up to the challenge there and got the kill on that one as well. Blackmore back to serve. Just hits it on the tape. Wonderful by Reese Clark. Diving to dig that one up. 3 ball, and it comes out to, who was it? It was Grusing who put it over the net and down for a kill. With that, Hadwin comes out, and that is going to be Brett Kester coming to serve, and that was a substitution by the Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. So Kester is back to serve, leading by 1. But he hits it into the net, not exactly what Cisco was hoping for, and with that, they're going to do a reverse substitution. Sorry, it wasn't Grusing that came out. It was Hadwin that came out. Hadwin comes back in. Again, that's a substitution sponsored by the Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. And back to serve now, all tied at 21, is Alec Loney. Very nice pass by Reese Clark. Grusing just has to tip it over. Francisco puts it out to the outside to Diego. Very late call. Oh, sorry, net call. I thought he was going to call a very late double contact, but it was in fact a contact on the net that was called by the R2 standing on the floor. And so with that, it goes over to Avalanche, leading 22-21. Grusing is back to serve. Blackmore, again, the target. Amazing kill coming out of the back row, flying is the kill by Blackmore. Again, all even at 22. Points are going back and forth. Obviously, maybe not obviously, but new volleyball fans might not know that you need to win by 2. First one to 25, but you have to win by 2. Polycarpo is way up there. Brom did a great job of holding the middle blocker, and Boston Tietzen fed Polycarpo beautifully. And so Polycarpo goes back to serve, leading 23-22. Obviously a crucial game. Evening it up makes it a whole new match, whereas being down by 2 digs a huge hole. Polycarpo hits a strong serve. And Gray Phillips puts it into the deep court for the kill. All tied up at 23. Gray Phillips goes back to serve. Let's see what he does here. He's been serving some off speed. We do have a substitution on the Humber Hawk side. Number 5, Josh Nicholson, comes out, the setter, and they put a bigger blocker in there. Number 5, which is, 8. Just out. 13 came in. Hewitt for the first time. Caleb Hewitt, a second-year setter out of Hamilton, Ontario, and that serve goes out. So this is now facing set point. Cotter is having, and the timeout has been called by Wayne Wilkins, wanting to have Brom think about this serve a little bit, perhaps ice him, as they often do in the NFL or the CFL, to ice the kicker. It's often done in volleyball as well, to ice the server. Give Brom 30 seconds to think about this. And so Cisco gathers his team and says, boys, we just need one block. I think they know who it's going to go to. I think Taven is likely the guy who's going to be getting the set. And so let's key on Taven and make somebody else beat us, not they're all Canadian. Again, this has been a fantastic match so far. Close in the first set, equally close here in the second set. And Wayne Wilkins has used his last timeout. Cisco still has 1 left in his toolkit. So it remains to be seen whether that's needed. Hopefully, for his sake, he's hoping the match will end right here on this serve. So back to serve is Brom. So he's had 30 seconds to think about it. And again, Brom indicating to the ball boy to settle down the ball and bounce the ball to the servers. There's been some frustration by servers throughout the day. And that serve just goes out very, very close. I would have said too close to leave, but that's what happened, and they got the point out of it. And with that, we're all tied up at 24. There is a substitution. Number 6 coming in, which is Paul Manna. It's his second set that he's coming in for Nazir Francis. So Paul Manna will make a crucial serve here. Obviously, you can't win on this serve because you do need to win by 2. It's all knotted at 24. But points at this point in the game are very, very important. And with that, Paul Manna sends one into the bleachers in the back. Did not get on top of that one, and so with that, Nazir Francis comes back in. Manna comes out, and Segui comes in. That was a substitution sponsored by Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. Boston Tietzen now serving for the match. It's not for the match, for the set. And McAlpine takes a little off of that one. Nice roll shot. Boston Tietzen was not expecting the ball to land that close in front of him, and he could not control that dig. So we're back to a tie game at 25. Hewitt goes back to serve for the first time in the match for him. But he hits it into the net, unfortunately. And so, again, another set point. Francisco going back to serve for Cotter. And we do have a substitution, again sponsored by Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. Josh Nicholson comes back in for Hewitt. Francisco floats floats it out. Gray Phillips went up to take it with his hands, and he had second thoughts, which I'm sure he's thankful that he did. He let that go long, and so again, a tie game at 26 all. Blackmore back to serve. Again, have to watch him coming out of the pipe. Pass pulls him out. Diego gets a play continue on that one. And with that, awkward looking middle shot by Loney. By McElmine, but he does, by Loney, sorry. But he does get the point, and with that, 27-26, Cisco Ferrero chooses to use his last timeout. Obviously a very smart timeout to call. Just wants to settle things down and again ice the server on the other side, as Brom was iced on the Avalanche side just moments ago. And again, this is a huge point. I can't overstate that enough. Clearly, if Humber goes up 2-0, that's a big hole to dig yourself out of if you're Cotter. Whereas 1-1, completely different match. It becomes a best 2 out of 3 at that point, and anyone is believing they can win that set. In fact, Cotter would, though, even though it's 1-1, Cotter would have the advantage, likely because of the momentum that comes from winning the most recent set. So he sends out his lineup and with his charges indicating, just give me a perfect pass and let's execute on the very first ball. Let's not get this to be a extended rally, but let's finish it on the first one. Diego is probably one of the more obvious recipients. Boston TC giving his setting instructions to the hitters. Blackmore back to serve. Blackmore dives for that one, keeps it up. And Gray Phillips hits it down for the kill and leads to the victory in set 2. 28-26. Amazing fortitude. And that's what Wayne Wilkins talked about yesterday. They have the experience. They've been here before. That's exactly what they did. They were down by several points at a few times throughout the match or the set, and they did not hang their heads. They continued to play, continued to hit, and not to back away from the challenge. And so good for them. They're looking for a 3-set sweep, clearly at this point. And certainly the mindset on the Cotter side has to be, we just need one, boys. We don't need to win 3 in a row. We do need to win three in a row, but we can't win all 3 games in the next set. Let's do it one game at a time. With that, I'm going to take a short break, and I'll be back momentarily. Back with you here courtside at the Community Resource and Recreation Center here in Niverville. This is Harlan Enns, spending the evening with you and the afternoon with you earlier, and I will be here all week long into the weekend. We're heading into set 3 of this final nightcap match between the Humber Hawks and the Cotter Avalanche. And just looking at the stat sheet here, certainly Cotter played better that set and nearly pulled off the victory. Diego started hitting better with less mistakes. He's now into positive territory on his efficiency. Reed Grusing had a very strong second set, now up to 7 kills, hitting at a .429 efficiency rate. And on the Humber side, it continues to be Michael McElpine hitting 7 kills, almost leading his team. Kyle Gray Phillips has 8 kills, no errors. So he has a .571 hitting percentage, and Michael McAlpine has a .429 percentage. What's interesting is that there's far more service errors happening on the Humber side. They have 15 service errors to only 9 for Cotter. Usually that's a bad sign, and usually that doesn't lead to success. So you look at these stat sheet, you'd almost think it would be Cotter leading this match rather than Humber, but it is not that. It is in fact Humber. They do have less hitting errors, but the many serving errors you'd think they'd be paying for more dearly than they have been so far. But we'll see what happens as they come out for this third set. The lineups look to be the same as the end of the second set, and with that, Nicholson will go back to serve. Austin Thiessen sets it out to Policarpo, and blocked by the Humber Hawks for the first point of this set. Nicholson will serve again. Hits it off the tape, an overpass. Nicholson has to take it. Segi sets McAlpine for the kill. Hit it off the hands, and Reese Clark was not able to dig it up as it found the floor. So we have a 2-point lead. This is not what Cisco would be expecting or wanting, certainly. Reese Clark, nice pass with the hands over to Reed Grusing, but that was wide. Probably a set that Boston Thiessen would want to place better. A little bit low. And again, Diego is blocked. Second block in the first 4 points. And Cisco is going to call a very quick timeout. He clearly cannot give these guys a long leash in this set. This is a do or die set for them. The passing has not been bad in the first 4 rallies, but not getting the attacks that, or not getting the results from the attacks that you would expect from an all-Canadian like Diego. But let's give credit to Humber. They're expecting, and clearly the game plan, knowing that Diego would be getting a lot of sets, and they have been putting up a very strong block against Diego, getting more stuff blocks on Diego than is typical in a BC Pac-West volleyball match. So certainly the team has to be very, very happy about that. McAlpine has been blocking very effectively. Let's see here on the stats who is. Reed Grusing has 2 blocks for Cotter, and Noah Hadwin has 2 as well, and then 3 blocks for Nazir Francis. Again, a middle blocker. Michael McAlpine also 3 blocks, as well as Alec Loney. So 3 guys with 3 stuff blocks and very, very strong blocking. So that has, I think, been one of the big differences when I talked about the stats earlier. The blocks is significantly in the favor of the Hawks. So Josh Nicholson going back to serve now here with a 4-point lead, and Cisco already having to use one of his timeouts. That one does go into the net, so that's one of those that you call a coach's point. Not only did he refocus his team, but he caused Josh Nicholson to think maybe a little hard about his serve and tried something a little too cute, getting a short serve, but putting it into the net. So Hadwin is going back to serve for the Avalanche, down 4-1. Great serve, short serve. Loney powers it through the block. And with that, Diego has to hit a broken play, puts it over to the setter. And blown out the back by Blackmore, as they often do. They're asking for the touch, but no one saw the touch, which meant it probably didn't happen. So Hadwin is back for the serve, trying to close this early gap. Amazing kill by Blackmore coming out of the right side. He is the high flyer. He's one of those guys that you come to see. Kind of worth the price of admission, as they say. So Blackmore gets the kill, goes back to serve, leading 5-2 Humber Hawks. Big serve, but goes out the back, just out the back. So Blackmore goes into the serve-receive position now. Cotter is serving. Grusing back to serve. but he puts it into the net. Again, not a serve he should be missing. Those kind of errors really can kill a team. It's hard to build any momentum if you can't get your serves in. And with that, Loney goes back to serve. Over bump by Diego. McAlpine, but dug up by Grusing. And again, Diego blocked for a third time this set. Another strong block by Francis and McAlpine. Big serve by Loney. Grusing just rolls it over. Again, kind of changed his speed. Made the timing for Gray Phillips on his dig off, and when the timing is off, often the ball doesn't go where you want it to. And so point to the Avalanche. Diego Policarpo goes back to serve. And right in between Gray Phillips and Blackmore. Kind of indecision. They both went for the ball, and it shot directly under the net for a point to Policarpo and his Avalanche. The Humber fans are immediately to my right here, and they are making as much noise as they can with cowbells and noisemakers, and perhaps that was the reason Policarpo missed that serve. It's certainly a smaller contingent from Humber, but making as much noise as they can, cheering on their guys from Etobicoke. And Braum hits it out of the middle, but out. Very good run. Great idea by Boston, but didn't get quite on top of that. So we have a substitution here by Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. Braum does come out, number 13. And coming in is Luke Margineau. He's a first-year middle blocker from the United Arab Emirates, of all places. I'm pretty certain the only player in Canadian volleyball playing from there. And Grusing comes hard out of the back row, but dug up. McAlpine goes up for the hit. And the new guy comes in and gets his first point, Margineau, on the overpass. He now goes back to serve, Luke Margineau. He's a 6'5" middle blocker, I should say. Need a little bit of a cleanup on the floor. Sweaty Taven Blackmore. Get some moisture on the floor. Younger kids, the team of towel wipers, are doing a great job here today in this first day of the tournament. Gray Phillips, beautiful in-system hit. Great pass from Taven. And out to Gray Phillips, who makes no mistake with that one. So, point to Hawks. They're up 10-6. And we did that substitution coming back in. It was Grusing. Or sorry, Hadwin. Nice kill by Diego. That's what he needs to do. He needs to get some positive things happening in his favor and turn this thing around. The team obviously relies on him. It's a lot of pressure that he holds. He really relishes that pressure. He knows he's the guy that needs to get points. Blackmore. And there's a center line, net violation on the Avalanche block. Ball goes back to Nazir Francis for his serve. Most of the servers, when they come back to serve, they want to have a bounce pass from the ball boys, and the ball boys here perhaps haven't been coached on that, and they are throwing balls all over the place to the servers, and the servers often are not liking that. But Diego comes out of the back row for a kill on that nice serve receive and set. The deficit is now 8, chipping slowly away at the deficit that was 4 to start the match. The first 4 points went to Humber. McAlpine sets it to the middle of the court. And Diego gets the kill on that one. So 2 straight kills. Perhaps feeling a little better about himself and his team. Gaining some momentum. It's Francisco back to serve a second time. And unfortunately, Francisco hits that one into the net, giving the side out to the Hawks. Nicholson back to serve. Reese Clark a bit hamstrung by that one. Polycarpo gets blocked, but it's recycled. And with that, it's blocked again on the roll shot. Polycarpo thinking there might be a net violation, but none was forthcoming. Nicholson goes back to serve, now up by 4. Reese Clark gives a nice pass to the middle, and Hadwin attacks from the middle, I should say. Polycarpo, nice tool, nice smart play off the block. That's when you see experience coming to the forefront, where you know there's the big block up there, and you use a really effective wipe. So back to serve is Hadwin. Beautiful pass to Nicholson. Loney makes no mistake on the quick set to the middle. 31 of sorts. And unfortunately on that one, the Luke Marginot was not over fast enough to get any sort of press, and Loney went right around him. Back to serve is Blackmore. Acrobatic serve receive. And Grusing has brought his A game here this second and third set. Certainly providing the secondary scoring that they're needing. Unfortunately, Polycarpo has not been getting as many kills as he normally gets. And so Loney has been at some points carrying the Avalanche. But he does blow that one out the back to give a point back to Humber. We're now at 15-11, getting into that dangerous area of you don't want to go down by more than 3 or 4. Any more than 3 or 4 at this point in the game. It's very hard to claw your way back in rally point like it is here. Beautiful pass coming out of the back row. Grusing, smart shot, cross-court roll, but dug up by Nicholson. McElpine does the same, very smart, crafty shot, rolls it over top of the block. And at this point, Cisco says, I can't see any more of this. I need to stop this now. So he calls a timeout. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back in a few moments. All right, we're back here live as the timeout comes to its conclusion. Potter now has used their only 2 timeouts at this point. He needs his team members to start playing up to their ability and keep the momentum and keep the pedal on the metal and try to force some sustained run on their side against Humber. Alec Loney is back to serve for Humber. Great serve by Loney. He's played well tonight. And Grusing is blocked, digs it up himself. And Polycarpo has to send over a free ball, broken play. Tough play, but Nazir Francis, awkward dig, but he gets right up there ready for the middle attack and gets the set. Nicholson makes him work for it. We got a substitution by Steinbeck Credit Union. We have number 11, Luke Marginot, coming out, and Braum coming back in. As I said, that was brought to you by Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. Out of system here, and Policarpo has a three-man block. He does get a play continue, and McAlpines hits it high. Again, play continues. Nice hit by Policarpo down the line. Nazir Francis just puts it over the net. Yeah, beautiful cut shot by Policarpo. And we have another substitution being brought to you by Steinbeck Credit Union. We have number 3, Jace Wilson, coming in for Albert Francisco. That is brought to you, like I say, by Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. So Diego goes back to serve. His team trailing by 5. Trying to rattle off a few in a row. And that's exactly what he does. He starts off with an ace right between Gray Phillips and Blackmore. That has hurt them a couple of times, that exact scene. A little bit of lack of communication. They're trying to talk it through. How are they going to approach it next time? That might be this place where Diego wants to go again, right down that scene. That husband and wife serve, lack of communication. He gives it to Blackmore that time. And Grusing comes out of the back row, out of system, and hits it off the block and long, but he gets the point. Sidovs could not dig it up. And at that point, Wayne Wilkins says, I've seen enough. I don't want this to get any closer than it already is. And so Wayne Wilkins calls a timeout for his Humber Hawks. As I was saying, there is a contingent, fairly healthy contingent, small but mighty, for each one of the teams here this weekend. The Humber Hawks fans, many parents, no doubt, and perhaps some friends as well, in addition to those family members. But they're loud, they're proud, and certainly cheering on their teams. I was impressed with the Kings fans earlier tonight. They were in costume, dressed up as kings and queens. So certainly a lot of school spirit, the things that parents do for their kids. And being a parent myself of kids that have gone through this age, I always hope that the kids appreciate and certainly recognize the sacrifices that these parents do make for these athletes in order to get them to this level. Certainly there's a lot of God-given ability and hard work that's gone into it, but the opportunity has come from the likes of the parents. And so if your kids, I'm sure your kids do appreciate it, but to the extent that they don't say it enough, I want to say it on their behalf. Parents, thank you very much for helping your kids with sport as you do and giving them the opportunity to do things, not only just sports, but music, any sorts of hobbies that are their loves. So thank you to parents. And with that, Diego goes back to serve, trailing by 3. And Taven sets that one up, goes high off the hands, does Gray Phillips. And Grusing is nicely placed. Kill down the line. Again, Grusing has been very, very effective this match. And if it wasn't for Grusing, I think this match may have been over already. So again, Diego serving very effectively. Policarpo getting 3 straight points to close the gap to 2. And Policarpo does send it out the back. So with that, the serve goes back to the Hawks, now up 18-15. And we do have a substitution brought to you by Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. Jace Wilson comes out and Francisco goes back in. And back to serve is Mike McAlpine. Diego passes it up and it goes to Grusing. Hits it hard, but it is recovered. And there's a joust at the net, won by Gray Phillips against Braum. All important. Well, every point is important at this point, but a 19-15 lead. McAlpine back to serve. They can almost taste it, but they can't get out of themselves. They need to play each point by point, not look ahead. Oh, that is cheap and cheesy, but I know that McAlpine would not give that point back. He'll take it. It just rolled off the tape, and Boston Thiessen couldn't quite grab it and get it up in time. Nice serve. And Grusing comes through and blocked out by Gray Phillips. So a nice tool shot. Kill for Grusing. Braum goes back to serve. It's now 20-16. They clearly need to close the gap because at this point, we know that they can just side out, they being Humber. We got a substitution now. Number 6 is coming in. 8 goes out, Gray Phillips. Perhaps he did looks like he may have dislocated a finger by the looks of it. The trainers have gathered him and they'll see if they can fix that or at least jam the finger. So number 6 goes in, Paul Manna. That was brought to you by the Steinbeck Credit Union, of course. Every substitution is. And Paul Manna goes up, hits the ball, and he gets a touch on the block. But the referee says no, he does not see that block or that touch. And again, an overrule. We haven't seen many of those today, but that's the right of the first referee. Brahm goes back to serve. Nazir Francis gets the kill off a good set by Josh Nicholson. Now 21-17. They do a rotation check just to be sure. And Paul Manna does go back to serve for the Hawks. Polycarpo takes it in the middle, and it goes to Grusing. Nice cross-court shot. And Blackmore hits it hard into the block, but it does sail out the back end. So he does get the kill on that one. Block couldn't quite manage that ball down into the court for the Hawks. Manna goes back to serve for a second time, now up by 5, only 3 points away from match victory. But Manna puts that one into the net and gives the point back to Cotter. Good serve by Boston. The pass was too close to the net. And Boston couldn't save it any other way other than held ball, so he's called for that infraction. Point goes over to Humber, and now 2 points away. Nazir Francis is serving yet again. But it goes into the net for a point. Now Cotter down 23-19. Francisco goes back to serve. Standing, and just play continues. A little bit of scrappy play, but we got a good rally going here. But that one goes straight down. Alec Loney and Blackmore team up on that block, making it 24-19. One serve away, or point, however they get it, from moving on in the sweep of the Cotter Avalanche. We'll see what Josh Nicholson does here on the serve. Float serve. Diego is blocked, but not down to the floor. Mike McAlpine off the hands. And with that beautiful tip, obviously they think Diego is going to hit hard, but he takes off and just floats it over the block for the kill. We have substitution Hadwin coming out and number 5 Kester coming in. That substitution is brought to you by the Steinbeck Credit Union. Guidance for where you want to go. And with that, Brucey puts it off the antenna and out. Point goes to the Humber Hawks, and they win their 3rd set, first match of the tournament, giving them the right to move on and play the Red Deer Kings tomorrow in this semifinal. Cotter is going to have to refocus and move on to the next days of the tournament and focusing on bronze. Certainly still within their reach. A very, very good team out of BC. But they met a very good and experienced Humber team tonight that certainly deserved to win. They serve tough. They had a lot of service errors, as I said earlier. They served tough, and certainly their high flyers came and hit very, very effectively. I would say the players that stood out for me on both sides was McAlpine played very, very well on the Humber Hawks side, and I would say that Grusing played very, very well on Cotter's side. And lots of deserving, could be lots of deserving winners for the player of the game, but that we'll see who wins those. But please stay with me. I'm going to take a slight break here, but once the players of the game are announced, I will come back to you indicating who they are, and then I will be interviewing the player of the game from the Humber Hawks, so don't go away. Back shortly.
It's now time to award the player of the game to each team. Please, to make the presentation, please welcome 8th CCAA Coach of the Year nominee from U8 Avender. Player of the game for COTR is number 2, Reed Bruce. Player of the game for Humber is number 4, Michael McAlpine.
All right, back with you after the final match of the evening. Unfortunately, we could not secure an interview again with the player of the game, but I will tell you who won the player of the game.